Alright people, it is King Tynex here of the Heavenly Strangers back with another video, and before I even start, I'm gonna just say right now, I don't have a lot of time because school, and number two, join the Discord. Yeah, that's another thing. Join the Discord. I will leave the link to the Discord down in the comments below. Anyways, now that I got that over, like the last time I ended off this what if, I was on part 0. This part 0, I basically gone over the backstory for Izuku in this story, especially like with how his mother is and how he was basically trained by the Hero Public Safety Commission. I think that's how you say it. But yeah, that's pretty much how I ended it off last time. They had mentioned how they don't know anything about his mother or his father. They just blatantly lied to Izuku, and Izuku doesn't know that. So, what's next on the agenda is pretty obvious, to be honest. What happens is that Izuku goes through this training for several years. He actually becomes a master in really using his quirk, using geokinesis, essentially. He's basically able to create like rock golems. He's able to make like earthquakes, all of that stuff, honestly. All of that good stuff. But what's interesting here is that he never meets Bakugo here because of obvious reasons. He never actually went to a proper school. But ever since he turned 14, that's when the commission was like, okay, this kid actually needs some human interaction besides us. This is getting a bit too weird. Plus, he also needs human interaction if he's ever going to be a hero. Which, if he doesn't become a hero, that'll just go against everything that we've trained him up for. After all of these years, we just turned him into a weapon of the sorts. Now, for like very, very extreme situations, which, I mean, come on, they are human. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt here and say that's not what their goal would be. Of course, he actually does end up meeting Hawks though, from an early age, and I believe that Hawks is like 22 in canon. So that's like around a 6-year age difference. Izuku sees Hawks as a big brother, honestly. He sees him as like a sort of brother figure. Even though they're not technically brothers, you can, well, blood brothers essentially. You consider they're like step brothers or something along those lines. Sort of like how it is for Ace, Luffy, and Sabo, honestly. I know some of you guys don't even get that reference, but it's whatever. Time goes by, and of course, this is when the Hero Public Safety Commission decides to enroll Izuku into UA. The reason for this being because of what I've already established before, and number two, well, it's pretty obvious, really. UA is basically like the number one hero high school. Like if you want like a fully capable hero, then you would want to put your kid in UA or Shikitsu High or something like that. But the Hero Public Safety Commission looked at Hawks and they were like, okay, we've already seen that we are capable of producing a really powerful hero, and that is really high in the rankings. But we're going to see what would happen if we were to put another one of them in UA, in a hero high school, like a really prestigious high school, and really just test out the waterworks. This is an experiment of theirs, honestly. So, Izuku doesn't actually fight the robots like he did in canon. I say fight, but he just ran away like a little baby, honestly. I'm sorry. It's the truth, okay? But in this canon, he's actually put into, what do you call those things? into he's basically enrolled into UA, just like recommended, honestly. He ended up getting recommended into UA. And finding out that it was by the Hero Public Safety Commission, of all things. Like, UA just accepted him with open arms. He didn't have to go through the same rigorous test or any sort of thing like the others who were recommended had to go through. Even though we don't know much about how the recommendations really went, though, I'm going to say that Izuku just gets a free ride into UA. Of course, Bakugo is still able to get first place like in canon. What's different here is that he doesn't know Izuku. He still behaves pretty much the same though. Izuku also doesn't know Bakugo, so when it's his first day in UA, he looks at Bakugo just having his feet kicked up on the desk like that, and seeing Ida trying to berate Bakugo, and he just is like, is this how is this how regular human interaction goes? He's just very awkward, honestly. Ida sees Izuku and tries to approach him. Izuku actually takes a couple steps back because of the fact that he is pretty nervous around humans that aren't the Hero Public Safety Commission and, well, Hawks, because he's never been around anybody else for most of his life. Like, especially after the whole orphanage thing. That really messed up his view of human civilization, honestly. It didn't help with the solitude he had for all those years with the Hero Public Safety Commission either. What happens is still pretty similar to in canon, where Aizawa pops in and tells them, okay, all you brats go outside and change into your UA gym uniforms. We're going to be taking, what do you call those things? A practical test. Yeah, that's right. We're going to be taking a practical test. We're going to see just how capable you guys are with your quakes. He even looks at Izuku and is really wondering about him because of the fact that word has it he was recommended by the Hero Public Safety Commission. He has no last name either. It's just Izuku. That's what interests. That's what interests Aizawa even more about Izuku, and he's wondering just what this kid can do. Of course, when the exams start, similar to in canon, some people are excited, and well, Aizawa puts him to the test by saying that whoever gets the last place in the exam will be expelled. And in this canon, somebody will actually be expelled. But ooh. But yeah, Izuku was actually able to perform way better than in canon. I would say that when it came onto the whole race against Bakugo, Izuku doesn't hold like any sort of opinion of Bakugo. Bakugo just sees Izuku as another stepping stone until Izuku just, takes up some of the rock and just sits on it essentially and just flies over to, to like the cross. To the end. Yeah, that's basically makes it to the end of the finish line, really. So when Bakugo sees us, he immediately calls Izuku out and says that he cheated. He didn't even move. He just used, he used the rock to get by, and he demands that Izuku be disqualified for that. But Aizawa is intrigued with Izuku and actually says that he allows it. He allows it because, well, it is still using this quake. The next thing that Izuku does is when it comes on to, that grip strength test, he actually gets a bunch of rock and, forms it around his hand, turns it into a sort of gauntlet, essentially, and squeezes the grip strength tester. I don't know what the name of that thing is, but he basically squeezes it so hard that it actually breaks, and Aizawa just sighs and gives him another one and tells him to just go a little lighter with that one so it doesn't break, or else he'll give him a 0 for that one. Izuku does, and he actually maxes it out. And Aizawa's like, okay, that works. The next part of the exam is when they have to, well, do all these other things. Basically, Izuku was able to do pretty well in most of the tests. The only test that he wasn't able to do all that well in was the side-to-side jump, and that was for obvious reasons. Nobody really did that well. Even when it came on to like the whole sit-ups thing, he was able to do fairly decent. I mean, nobody was able to really do much in that. How can you use a quirk for that? Next, the things that are probably the most interesting though are like the ball throw test, where Izuku is actually able to send the ball flying, and then he uses a bunch of pebbles to actually keep on pelting the ball until it keeps on going farther and farther until his control is just no longer effective anymore. And Aizawa records his as like around 1,000 meters, like a whole kilometer essentially. Of course, Bakugo is pretty peeved about that, but he decides to let it be. The next part of the exam would be what do you call that thing? Oh yeah, that whole endurance run. Izuku just does the same thing with the whole finish line, the whole 50-meter dash. That was the name for it. He does the same thing as he did with the 50-meter dash, where he just picks up some rock and he just gets on top of it and just uses it to hover on. Honestly, the rock is really doing the work here. And Izuku isn't breaking the sweat at all. That's what makes Bakugo rage, honestly. And he tries to actually fight Izuku, saying that he cheated. He didn't even move his body at all throughout the whole time. So yeah, that's basically how it is. Alright, of course, your boy Aizawa, he is not having any of that, and actually forces Bakugo to stop attacking Izuku. Bakugo is trying to say, he cheated. Aizawa just sighs and tells him that if he keeps on doing what he's doing, he's just going to expel Bakugo right then and there. After hearing that, Bakugo immediately stops. Because, come on, he has some common sense. I think, at the very least. But what's interesting here is that Izuku is actually able to get fairly high in this what if, to the point where I would say he's in the top 5. He's actually number 2. The only reason I say that Momo is still ahead of him is because of just how convenient her quirk is. She's basically able to make something for every other test, really, every single test. She has a full-on creation quirk. So I gotta give my girl Momo some props for that. And who is in last place here? Drum roll, please. That was awful, but it's Mineta, obviously. Come on. He was like 19th place in canon. So of course he would be 20th place here. And of course Aizawa just sees him as pretty useless as a hero and just expels him right then and there. I say expel, but more so he's just removed from the hero course. He tells him to pack his things and go to the principal to get his schedule changed and tell the principal that, well, he failed the practical exam. That's why he decided to, well, switch courses, switch into general. And he actually has an idea of who should go into Class 1A in Manete's absence. And I'm pretty sure you guys can guess who it is. If you can't, shame on you. Alright, I'm going to stop right now. Alright, so after that long period of time that I just, taking a break off of recording for like 3 hours or something along those lines, I'm ready to go back again. And basically, I ended it off by saying, well, a new student is going to be in Class 1A. If you guys haven't figured it out yet, shame on you. But the next part would have to be... It would have to be, what do you call it? Oh yeah, like the battle training arc, essentially. Basically, where they just duke it out, essentially. Bakugo has his eyes on Izuku for the simple fact that he just outdid him just in pretty much everything, and he's still pretty peeved about how he was able to do like those two race events as well. He didn't even really run, so he was thinking, okay, this guy might not even be all that fast. Well, for all we know, he may be pretty slow. And he just uses that rock in order to give him the edge. So, once All Might pops in the classroom and announces that they're going to be doing like a mock battle, of course, Bakugo is all ears. Izuku is interested as well. He wants to actually test out his abilities against others, but he's still a bit nervous though. I would say that when it comes onto his costume, of course it's not going to be the same as in canon. As a matter of fact, I would say that it's pretty similar to Hawk's own outfit, honestly. Well, more so the shirt, really. I would say, like, when it comes onto the shirt, it would be black and green with the same design like Hawk's own. Green for obvious reasons, though. Even though in this what if he does have like blonde and green hair, so I would say that what do you call it? Like the outer edges are going to be green while the rest is blonde or gold. Just slightly different from Hawk's own, honestly. Also, when it comes on to the rest of the outfit, it just looks like he's wearing regular clothes, really. I mean, it's not the first time you've seen a hero with pretty casual wear. I mean, you have Monoma wearing a suit and a tie, for crying out loud. I don't know how you could really make a costume for this Deku. But I would say that Rocket still gives him the compliment. Like, it just looks pretty standard. It looks pretty nifty, really. Like, you could just walk in public with this costume, nobody would bat an eye, and you would still be able to do hero work with a costume like that. And so she applauds Deku for that. Although it's not that flashy. The shirt is flashy. That shirt looks raw. I need somebody to make merch of that shirt. Honestly, I would totally buy it. But yeah, once the teams are announced, that's when Bakugo immediately just guns down Izuku. Basically, as soon as the bell starts, as soon as All Might announces that the teams may commence their fight, Bakugo immediately just leaves Ida and just starts running down the hall searching for Izuku just so that he can give him the best butt whooping in his life, really. It's like worse than being beaten with an extension cord. I've heard some people actually do that. But yeah, you guys already know what I'm saying. Bakugo, the only thing about Bakugo here is that he can't really get a sense of just how strong Izuku is. He doesn't really know much about his history here. He doesn't know how Izuku's quirk necessarily works either. Once Bakugo finally encounters Izuku, actually does try to fight Izuku. He tries to use his explosions in order to, actually hurt Izuku, try and get the edge on Izuku. Izuku doesn't know how Bakugo fights here, so he wasn't prepared for the right hook. More like he just immediately ducks down though, thanks to the Hero Public Safety Commission training him over the years. And what ends up happening instead is that he is able to actually use the metal that is making up the walls, essentially. He's able to use basically the platform that's been created from the platform that was created to make the building. He actually uses the environment to his advantage here, because although he doesn't have quite as much flexibility, he still does try and do his very best. And All Might is actually keeping tabs on Izuku's creativity. He's actually able to do it fairly well. What Izuku is able to do now is that he's basically able to metal bend, really. I mean, come on. You wouldn't put this out of Terra's capabilities either, would you? Would you? Answer the question in the comments below. But yeah, that's basically how it goes. Izuku was able to make steel walls, steel barricades, or something along those lines, in order to actually shield himself from Bakugo. Bakugo gets pretty irritated with Izuku and tries to tell him to fight like a man and stop trying to hide like a coward. Izuku is just sweating bullets here and actually tries to fight back here and actually covers his arm in a metal gauntlet and just right hooks Bakugo so fast that it literally just knocks Bakugo down. And Bakugo gets back up though, but he is rubbing his jaw. He wasn't prepared for such an attack. It actually really hurts, and he actually spits down some blood and a tooth. Yeah, of course when Bakugo sees this, he is immediately concerned and angry at the same time. Kangry. Yeah. We really coming up with words here. But yeah, that's basically what happens. Bakugo tries to fight Izuku still, but Izuku is just starting to adapt to Bakugo's movements more and more as the time goes by. And he's actually able to get Bakugo to be held down. He's actually able to use his environment to pin Bakugo to the ground with the steel that he uses in the whole battle, really. Afterwards, Bakugo is still furious and is trying his best to actually break free of the chains, really. But Izuku just immediately runs away from Bakugo. Bakugo is yelling, cursing, all of that. And he's just frustrated to the point where veins are starting to pop on his forehead. Bakugo tries to escape, but it's of no use, and Izuku is actually able to make it up to the top of the building and meets up with Uraraka. When Ina just tries to actually figure out where Bakugo is, Izuku just thinks that, well, he was already able to subdue Bakugo, at least for the time being. And Ida is immediately concerned because he saw how strong Bakugo seemed to be in the physical exam. And he realizes that it's now 2-on-1 rather than just a regular 1-on-1. So He grabs the bomb and he's just running around in circles. But Izuku, he's not having any of this, and he just immediately tries to figure out a way in order to really stop Ida from continuously moving. What he does is that he actually uses his environment, uses like the rock, the steel, the cement, all of that, in order to grab Ida and the bomb. He's actually able to subdue both Ida and Bakugo now, and this immediately gives them the win. Now they were able to take down both villains. They didn't even have to touch the bomb here, but they still did anyways. I wouldn't say that, well, I'm not quite sure who will get the MVP here, because Izuku also did some pretty risky things, especially when it came onto the bomb handling. But yeah, I would say that this is basically how I'm going to end the what if right now. Also, in the next part, we will have a very tired emo boy be part of Class 1A at the very least, I think. Alright, that's enough. Remember to join the Discord. Also remember to comment, like, share, and subscribe. If you really want to see more videos, especially. I really need you guys to share, like, the views and like the time you guys watch this for, and that either encourages me to continue doing these what ifs, or either discourages me from continuing on. Alright, so that's part 1 for you guys. Kintai next out.